Okay, so we're looking at this sample size practice, and essentially what we're doing here is we're taking the information from the question and we're gonna use it to fill in the equation here, and we're gonna end up solving for n, okay? So we've got these two people running for mayor in a large city and want to estimate the proportion P of all registered voters in the city who plan to vote for Gustafson. With a 95% confidence, that's our confidence level, CL, confidence level, and a margin of error no greater than 0.03. Okay, so when we look up at the equation, we're looking at this equation here with our proportions, right? And from Z times this standard error, which is here, is going to be our margin of error. Okay, so I'm going to take that part of the equation, Z times the square root of P hat 1 minus P hat over n, right? And so we're going to take that and we're going to plug in the numbers. Now, when we're not given a P, we're going to use 0.5, because 0.5 times 0.5 is 0.25. That'll get us the largest numerator we can have, right? Because like 0.4 times 0.6 is 0.24, right? So we want the largest numerator we have, so we need the largest denominator to get how large of the random sample we need. So we're going to use 0.5 when we're not given a P. Okay, so how do we find the Z in this? Well, we take our confidence level plus 1 divided by 2 and put that in our inverse norm. So we're going to go inverse norm of 0.95 plus 1 divided by 2, and that's going to give us our 1.96, okay, which is a pretty common confidence interval, right, which is the confidence, is the z-score at 0.95, right? Okay, so let's take those numbers into here. So we have our Z, which is 1.96, times our 0.5 times 0.5 over n equals, okay, 0.03. Okay, so we're going to solve for n here. And here's what I like to do. I got 1.96. There's several ways to solve for this. Square root of 0.25, right, over square root of n, so I divided up the square root there, equals 0.03, and then I'll take the 1.96 times the numerator, which is 0.5, right, the square root of 0.25 is 0.5, over the square root of n, equals 0.03. And how do I get something out of the denominator? I multiply it to both sides, so I get 1.96 times 0.5 equals 0.03 times the square root of n. Okay, divide over 0.03, and I end up getting with getting the square root of n equals 32.666 repeating. So n equals 1067.11. Okay, so we would say our n, what we need, okay, is going to be, we'll round up, 1068. That's how many people we would need to survey. Okay, let's take a look at number 2, and then I'll let you do number 3 on your own. Okay, number 2, we have the SAT math, and we have a score. Okay, so we're looking at the other equation, which is our confidence interval equals x bar plus or minus our t score, and then standard deviation x over square root of n. Now on this one, we're looking at a 0.95, okay? And normally what we would do on a t-score is do an inverse t, but we don't have an x bar or a n value, okay? So we're gonna assume this n value is really high because we're talking about SAT scores for high school students. So there's a lot of people that take that SAT. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna use actually the z-score at 0.95. The higher the n, okay, and the higher the degrees of freedom, because degrees of freedom is just n minus 1, the more this t looks like a z, okay? So the bigger that, the more this looks like a z-score. So I'm going to just tell you, right, our t-score is going to equal our 1.96 in this one, okay? Again, our margin for error is here, okay? And we're looking at the margin for error needs to be within 2 points. So we're going to have our t standard deviation over square root of n equals 2. Okay, and our t is 1.96. Our standard deviation is given to us, it's 50. Okay, and we're going to solve for our n. Okay, so go ahead and work through that. How I did it was I multiplied the 1.96 times 50. I got 98. Square roots of n equals 2. Multiplied the square root of n to both sides. I got 98 equals 2 square roots of n. So I divide by 2, divide by 2. I got 49 equals square root of n. Square both sides. N equals 2401. Okay, I'm going to leave you to do the third one on your own. It gives you the P, so you don't have to make it at 0.5, and you can just go to work. It's very similar to the number 1. All right, have a good day.